Hey guys, welcome to another Path of Exile video, and I've decided to go full-on special Snowflake mode, so I'm now playing in solo Self-Found. Now this isn't actually anything new for me, because I've been basically playing solo Self-Found without being in the solo Self-Found league up until like 3 months ago. I only started trading around the time Fall of Oriath came out. And I have enjoyed it for a while, because over the years I've acquired a couple of exalts worth of gear and it was just sitting in my stash tab, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell it and buy my characters some nice gear. And I really did enjoy it for a while, because my characters were just growing in power and I was able to do guardians and all that kind of stuff. But as time went on, I realized that I wasn't really doing maps or anything like that and picking up loot and identifying rares so that maybe I can get an upgrade, but because maybe it will sell for a lot of chaos. Or maybe an exalt if it's like a really good item. And basically my entire character progression was reduced to running maps to grind currency so that I can then buy an item. And I just don't like that. I was basically just running maps as fast as I could so that I get the most currency I can so that I can buy an item, instead of, you know, being like, oh my god, this thing dropped, let's identify it, maybe it's really cool. Or even, you know, using the crafting system, which is really good in this game. And this is a bit of an exaggeration, it didn't feel like I was playing Path of Exile, it felt like I was playing PoE Trade. And my interest in the game started declining rapidly, because the reason I love games like Path of Exile and Diablo, you know, I've played like, I don't even know how many thousands of hours of Diablo 2, is that I enjoy the gameplay, number one, duh, I wouldn't be playing them if I didn't. But number two, I really enjoy leveling characters, powering them up, getting them new gear, and generally just progressing my characters. I love picking up random rares and uniques that drop on the ground, identifying them, looking at the stats, looking at my character, being like, oh my god, is this an upgrade? Oh, excitement, and all that kind of stuff. And I basically took that and yanked it out of the game, because I would just be playing, and I'd be like, huh, I guess I should upgrade my boots. PoE Trade, okay, so I need life, I need this resistance, I want 30% movement speed, boom, 1 exalt, alright, let's buy the boots, and back to maps we go to grind currency for the next upgrade. Towards the end, I even started running maps that I didn't really enjoy because, ooh, they have an expensive diff card drop, whoop-de-flippin'-do. But then the turmoil race started and I decided to participate in it because I've never played any of the races. I've always played in standard. Now, I didn't treat it as a race because I was pretty sure I was not gonna win anything, because people are just way too good at this game and I like to take things slow. But I treated it as a new and exciting environment to level a new character in. And as I was leveling up and going through the zones, I was having a blast. And I was like, what's going on? Why am I suddenly having a blast? Is it because of the turmoil mods? Maybe? But then it hit me. It's because I'm not wearing a tabula, a gold rim, and a life sprig, maybe even Abarad's hooves and Elrion jewelry, and have all these bollocks waiting for me at the end. I was really excited by getting upgrades again, because it was a genuine upgrade for my character. It wasn't something that I'm gonna wear until I can get high enough level to equip like a Doriani's catalyst that's sitting in my stash. And that's what kickstarted this whole solo Self-Found idea. For a while I thought I would just stop trading in standard and play with what I have, but I already bought so much gear for my characters, it would be virtually impossible to get any upgrades. For my Necromancer, for example, which is now an SRS zombie summoner with a Baron, getting an upgrade means getting a ring that has slightly more strength. Or my Ice Shot Raider, getting an upgrade there means basically 6-inking my Lionized Glare, 6-inking my Queen of the Forest, and maybe getting more crit on my amulet. Does that sound exciting? I don't think so, at least not for me. I could have leveled up a new character on standard and just not use the gear that I already have in my stash, or trade, just, you know, use whatever I find. But what about maps? I've already unlocked basically the entire atlas. So I just decided to go full solo Self-Found. Now I had to pick a character that doesn't require a ton of gear to get started, basically a good starter setup, because, well, I'm not gonna have any gear, and starting off with something like a Mjolnir discharge build isn't exactly smart. But it also had to be a character that I find really fun and that just doesn't get boring for me, because I don't have the time to level multiple characters. So I would basically just be playing that. So I thought about it for a while and I ended up going with an Essence Drain Trickster. Now at first I thought I was just gonna make the Essence Drain build by myself and hope that it works out, but then I realized that was a really dumb idea for solo Self-Found, so I searched the forums for a little bit and found an Essence Drain Trickster guide by Gazi. And even though I'm not running the exact same setup, I've changed few things here and there. It's basically the same thing, so if you want to check it out, there is a link in the description. And it has worked out fabulously. It is a really good build. It is very defensive, it is a hybrid that's running Mind Over Matter, and Essence Drain just does a ton of damage. You don't even have to have a lot of gear. Essence Drain just has a lot of base damage. And what I like about it the most is that even though it starts off pretty strong, it gets a lot stronger with the right item, so I have something to work towards. Now at the moment I'm sitting in tier 1 and tier 2 maps because I just want to get some basic gear, and I also need to level up because Essence Drain felt really strong while leveling, so I just kept blasting through the content and I killed Kitava very early. I've also been running Merclap quite a bit because turns out the build is actually really good for it. You have a lot of defense, so neither Izaro or traps are that dangerous. I mean, you can still die if you go full potato, but it's actually fairly chill and it has more than enough damage to take it on. And this got me some really nice gear. I got a 5-ring chest piece, though it was the wrong base, so it took me like 100 chromes to color it properly. And I got myself a Bright Beacon. Since I'm doing more than enough damage even with Bright Beacon GMP, I can just use it to zoom around. I do, by the way, have a pretty nice wand saved up in the stash. It's just I don't really need the damage from it for the content I'm doing, so I'm just using the Bright Beak to move around much faster. And by the way, I'm using GMP because Essence Drain just feels bad without it, especially on bosses that like to move around because the projectile is really slow. But you know, if you're using GMP, you have 5 of the projectiles, so the chances of you hitting the boss or whatever you're aiming at are much higher. Now the reason why I'm actually making this video is because maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you've been playing Path for a while. Like me, I started playing in 2012 in beta. This was back when you had to buy one of the supporter packs to actually join, and maybe you're starting to lose interest. And if you're like me, you might be thinking, well, it's probably just because I've played the game for far too long, whereas it might very well be the availability of gear and how mundane it can be to just grind the same map over and over and over again to buy the things you want rather than going after them. With this character, for example, I would like to get the Breath of the Council Scepter, and in standard I would just, you know, grind a couple of maps, get some currency and buy it, whereas with this character I'm actually doing prophecies and I'm trying to get the Plague Maw prophecy, which can reward me with the Breath of the Council Scepter. And it's just way more fun that way, at least for me. I mean, the reason why I even started farming Merclap was because I got the Unbreathing Queen 2 prophecy, which you have to do in the Labyrinth. So I was like, well, might as well do Merclap now that I'm strong enough and get the 2 Ascendancy points, and I've realized that the character is really good for it and it's a lot of fun to do with this character, so I just started farming it. It just gives you more variety. Yes, you can chain run Shaped Strands or Shaped Spider Forest, but it's not going to provide you with everything you want. If, for example, your character wants to use one of the upgraded Breach Lore items, yes, you can get the basic version from a Breach, but you will have to go and fight the Breach Lord for the blessing to upgrade it. And the same goes for the lab. You want one of the lab uniques? Well, you have to do lab. You want to have a lab enchantment on your helmet? You have to do lab. Atziri, you want Atziri's promise? Well, better go and do Atziri. Now, I do realize that I might very well be in the minority here, and I also realize that some builds just don't really work in solo self-found because they require specific uniques, but I just find this way more fun than just running the same map over and over and over again. And I think I've been rambling for long enough, so I thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and maybe if you're feeling a little bit burnt out on Path of Exile, you might want to try Special Snowflake mode. It's really fun. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.